How's it going, folks? This is fun. I'm here today with Scott Hunter, VP of Product and Azure Developer at Microsoft. I've got Kalpesh from Capgemini here with me as well. Timothy, or Tim as I say, he's one of the engineers that builds all the Copilot app mod work that you're going to see today. And Michael is one of my teammates that helps put this whole thing together. And we really want to show you how what used to take 8 months, hopefully you can do in days or weeks, is my hope. You know, we are in the age of AI, obviously. We talk to businesses, and almost 82% of them say they want to find some way to add some AI to all of their apps in the next couple of months. I work at Microsoft. I can tell you we're doing the same thing. So I believe that modernization is a big part of almost every organization that I speak to. You can see 85% shows up here from some of the surveys and stuff that have happened, but everybody's doing app modernization right now. There's a couple things that kind of matter here. We find that in many cases, people are spending their budgets for new projects on modernizing their old projects. So they're doing less new projects because they're doing this modernization. There's obviously a huge gap in skills. In many cases, you might have an application and the developer who originally worked on it is not around anymore, or it might be in a language that you don't have skills in, or you've bought companies, and so you've inherited some of that technical debt. And then we find that you know, a lot of development time is just doing, this says 40%. I met a company last week that 80% of their time was just focused on legacy applications. They couldn't do new stuff. And so we're going to talk about how we can change that. So in this new world of AI plus cloud, we want to give you the ability to create, modernize with lots of speed, and then also run with confidence. And so primarily we're going to do that through the tools we're going to talk about today, which is GitHub Copilot for app mod. That's how you're going to actually make your apps move from an old version of .NET or old version of Java or being on-prem to the cloud. And then Azure Copilot, we have a new piece of technology as well. There'll be some talks here as well on, which is the SRE agent. That's the software reliability engineering agent. And this is designed for after your app's in the cloud. How do you use AI to help monitor and make sure that app is running well? And so I would tell you, we're not going to talk about SRE today here, but you should check the schedule and see stuff here. This is just a ton of stuff showing how app mod can make, you know, if you're a .NET developer or a Java developer, we see 4 times improvement in speed. SQL Server is just faster and cheaper to run in Azure than it is in other clouds. We have great tech for migrating your Oracle and Postgres, and we have great support for them in Azure as well. Biggest one I really want to focus on this slide actually is the 902K. That's the savings that companies are seeing as they modernize their legacy applications. So there's huge savings if you migrate your apps forward to newer tech and to the cloud. So with that, I'll play the trailer. That's pretty cool, I think. That showed everything. Right? We built all this stuff in the last year and a half. The LLMs weren't good enough until the last year or so to actually do the stuff that we're showing today. So the stuff we're doing today, I didn't think was even possible a year or so ago. It's amazing how far we've come. And we're going to show you a bunch of live demos of this in just a second here. I've got 2 more videos I'm going to play in a sec, and then Tim's going to come on stage, and we're going to show you the tools live so you can see how this works. We've got GA'd .NET and Java upgrade to upgrade support built into the app mod tools. This week, we just added support for .NET Framework to .NET Core. That's what's new this week. And so that's out there today. We also have the Containerization Assistant. We hear from many of our customers, they want to move to containers. You can use our tech, the app mod tools. They will help you build a Docker file and then publish your app either to AKS Automatic, or Azure Container Apps. The next demos we're going to show are going to be what we call portfolio tool coordination. There's a variety of tools. One we built at Microsoft called Azure Migrate. It goes and finds all the apps in your organization and helps you plan how you want to migrate those. We have third parties like Cast and Dr. Migrate. And what our new configuration does is now we have an integration where in Azure Migrate, you can go and click on an application and say, I want to modernize the application. It will then open up whatever issue technology you're using, maybe GitHub, and it will file an issue that has all the right stuff to install and run our tools to do that work. We also have another cool piece of technology. There's a talk my team's doing at 1 o'clock on Azure App Service managed instances. This is the idea is, if you want to take any legacy Windows application and maybe you need to add DLLs or touch the registry of the file system. Our cloud services didn't do that historically, but we now have a new version of App Service that means you can hopefully take your app and just copy it to the cloud and it just works. We're adding new support. There's a barcode that might be too small, but we're adding support for doing app modernization for C++ and Python too to help you move between versions. And then finally, we're public preview on all of our work to let you move from Oracle to Postgres or modernize your SQL servers as well. So this is all the tech that we have been shipping this week, and so it's a lot of good stuff. With that, I'm going to play a quick video showing you how, well, before I get there, this shows the whole style here. So you're a customer, you're going to use one of those tools, Azure Migrate, Dr. Migrate, or Cast, to go find all your apps. After you do that, you're going to use that feature I just mentioned before to decide, I want to modernize this application. What's going to happen is it's going to file an issue in GitHub to your developer. It's going to give them all the information about the app, what operating system it runs on, what language it uses, and all that kind of information. And from there, they're going to use a tool. And by the way, our app mod tools, we're not just doing them in Visual Studio Code and Visual Studio. We're also making them available to the JetBrains IDEs and things like Eclipse as well. And so we will meet you wherever you are with these tools. And from that, what you're going to do is the first thing it's going to do is assess your application, and it's going to make a plan. The cool thing is you can actually edit that plan, so you don't have to just take the plan as it is and say, well, no, I don't want to change this DLL or this library. I want that to stay the same. So you get a chance to go see what it does after it assesses your application. And then the first step it's going to want to do is upgrade your technology from an old version of .NET or an old version of Java to the newer versions. We want you to be on the newest supported versions. Then it's going to give you a migration option if you want to move it to the cloud. And it's going to give you all the steps that it finds. And you can tell it, I want to do these 3 steps. I'll skip this step. So you're fully in control. And then finally, it wants to do one final thing is make sure the app builds and check sure that we're not using any libraries that have security issues or stuff like that. And then you're going to have the option to either containerize it and then deploy it. And the tools will help you all along the way. So I'm going to do two more quick videos, and then we're going to do live demos. The first video is going to be using Cast, which is one of these tools just like Azure Migrate, and show how you can use the Cast tools to find the apps in your organization and then file the issue to get them working in GitHub Copilot.
As you can see, Copilot created a full inventory of every environment. I can see all the virtual machine servers, the databases, .NET applications, and my Java applications. Next, I'm going to ask Copilot about one specific application. our inventory asset manager called 𝗲𝗲 Asset Manager. It is a Java application currently running in our data center. The migration agent suggests a PaaS approach for this workload. The database should move to Azure database for PostgreSQL, and the web application should be containerized and deployed to Azure Kubernetes service. This is where I can hand things off to my development team. I click Go to Assessment, which opens a readiness assessment of the Java application's code. Here we can see the options. We can lift and shift, virtualize machines, or we can move to PaaS. Let's stick to PaaS for now. Using the GitHub Copilot Insights feature, I can hand this over to my developer to actually go and modernize the code of this application. The GitHub repo is already connected, so I click Request. This creates a GitHub issue that the developer can pick up directly in Visual Studio Code.
There you go. That showed going from Azure Migrate to the developer. Now we'll show cast here real quick. And then I'll quickly show Dr. Migrate, and then we can move to the live demos.
Every modernization journey starts with a plan, and Dr. Migrate turns that plan into action. Using AI-driven discovery, Dr. Migrate analyzes your environment to identify applications and technologies, and then automatically identifies potential modernization pathways based on what was discovered. Now, through seamless integration with Microsoft's GitHub Copilot, Dr. Migrate is able to streamline your modernization workflow by automatically generating GitHub issues for targeted apps, providing step-by-step guidance that helps you move from plan to code. Once you're in GitHub, you can use Visual Studio and Visual Studio Code to launch GitHub Copilot App Modernization for AI-assisted code remediation. And that's how easily you can go from portfolio assessment to pinpointing apps for modernization and using Copilot to update your code. And if you're an approved Microsoft partner, you can dive in with a full 90-day Dr. Migrate license, available now through Azure Accelerate.
Awesome. So let me invite Tim up onto the stage so we can actually do a .NET app in real time.
All right.
Welcome, Tim.
All right, thank you, Scott. So I get to show you some of this stuff running, and I'm going to try to show you everything that Scott talked about, but running here in my laptop. So first, what I want to show you, what I've done is I've actually created an application. It's going to be a photo album application, and I have it running in both .NET as well as Java. And I'm going to show you how app modernization works in Visual Studio, in IntelliJ, and in Visual Studio Code. And then at the end, we're going to have something kind of exciting, I think, to show you as well. So let's get started with Visual Studio. So here's my application. And this is a typical Visual Studio application, .NET Framework 4.8. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to run this application locally. And you can see it's going to load this photo album. Hopefully, it might take a little while. OK, well, it's supposed to load. While that's running in the background, while that's loading in the background, let me show you how to actually upgrade this application to .NET Core. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right-click here, and I'm going to click Modernize.
By the way, the Modernize feature he's showing is built into Visual Studio now. If you're on any of the latest Visual Studios, this is automatically built in. There's nothing to install. It's just built in. It's built in.
I'm actually running the RTM version of Dev 18, Visual Studio 2026. And so I'm going to go and say upgrade to a newer version of .NET. I'm going to hit OK. And now the agent's going to go ahead and try to understand what your application is, and it's going to present a plan. Scott mentioned the plan, and we believe planning is one of the ways that we want to both guide the agent in how to make changes, but also to allow you to inspect and to change so that the plan and the agent will do what you want it to do. I'm going to go ahead and accept the default settings, and we're going to wait a couple minutes, and it's going to go and create the plan for me. One of the things that we also do is that we work locally with your Git repository, so we make all changes inside a branch. This way, it's not going to kind of mess up what you're doing, and then you can also evaluate the branch, and you can operate on it like you would do with any other Git operation. You can push it up, you can do a PR on it, and so as a developer, you're still in control.
So we're not screwing up the main application in GitHub.
That's right.
Or whatever your source control you're using. I should also mention this does not require your source code to be in any particular, it could be ASDO, it could be GitHub, it could be something else.
Right. Right now it's Git-based.
Code's on your local machine.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and skip the security issue check. I know some people will not be excited about that.
But it's cool. This is an application that's 10 years old, .NET framework, and you're moving it to the brand new latest .NETs.
That's right. And I want to show you the plan that it's going to generate so you can kind of get a sense of kind of what the agent's going to do on your behalf. Okay, while that's running, I'm going to show you the final version. So this is it's going to take a while. You know, as you might be aware, you know, like for any real application, the agent's going to take a little while to run. And so I've actually pre-run all of these migrations to show you what the final outcome is. This is the final outcome of the application. It's going to be running on .NET Core 9 this time. And again, if I run and I start debugging, hopefully it's going to show me this application. This was the one that was running the .NET framework. There was some bug in it with some emoji display. I'm not sure why. But as I was upgrading it, it kind of fixed it for me. So let me go back to the plan, and hopefully it's here. Yep, the plan is here. It's a little bit small.
Zoom in a little bit.
So I'm going to zoom in.
Just grab that slider down there. There you go.
I'm going to close these windows so you can kind of see what the plan would look like. And so, you know, it just kind of conveys what the steps, what the goals are, and kind of gives you a list of all the things that it's going to do. And you can change this plan, and you can customize it to what you need.
So I saw things like make sure .NET 8's on the machine.
Right.
Here's the DLLs I'm going to upgrade, or the packages I'm going to upgrade to newer versions.
That's right.
And so on.
Now, one of the things that I do want to comment on is that it did not do a one-shot upgrade for me, right? I had to go and change some things, and I kind of wanted to guide it along the path. But what would have taken me weeks, if not months to do, took me just days. And so for us, that's kind of like the sweet spot we're looking for. We're not looking for like a one-button press that you can kind of magically do as a developer, but it's going to help you become faster and more efficient as you upgrade your
I would actually be afraid if it was one button press. I mean, the reality is there's some cases it's going to say, I can't fix this. It's going to ask you to fix it. And then once you fix it, you can say continue.
Right.
Something else that's really cool about the tech that I want to call out is he could have closed, any point during this, you can close Visual Studio and bring it back up the next day and continue.
That's right.
You don't have to sit in one session for 20 hours or whatever it is trying to do this.
Yeah.
It is meant to be that you can actually, you know, come in the office in the morning, start it, work on it for a couple hours, go home, come back, work on it again. It does not have to be done in one single session.
Cool. So now what I want to do is I want to show you Java Upgrade, because we also support Java. And for Java Upgrade, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. Instead of using the IDE, I'm going to show you how to use @mod in GitHub Copilot coding agent. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up my repository. I apologize for the dark screen here. I'm not sure how.
So if you don't know what you're going to do, coding agent, right?
Yes, coding agent.
So coding agent is the feature we released at Build, which allows you to work asynchronously. Normally, the way Tim was doing the first one was he was in the chat the whole time saying yes, yes, no, guiding the experience, but that requires him to be there and work on it like that. With Coding Agent, we can actually assign the issue to GitHub in the cloud, and it can actually do the work in the cloud versus having Tim sit there and wait and say yes all the time.
And so to do that, you're going to use this new agent panel that's integrated into your GitHub repository UX. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to type, upgrade this repository to Java 21 using my upgrade tools.
So what he's saying there is that these are tools, and he's telling the Copilot not to just try to do it by itself,
right,
but to instead use the tool that we wrote.
Tools that we have, yeah.
Because our tool is going to be better than the LLM just trying to do it by itself.
That's right. This week, we're launching all of our @Modernization MCP tools in the MCP registry. And so you can easily add those in your MCP configuration for Coding Agent, and then you can run all your modernization tasks on Coding Agent.
And I should say that these are built into Visual Studio, so if you just install the newest Visual Studios, they're all built into that. And if you install VS Code and install our Java extension, you'll get all these as well.
That's right. And here you can see from the Agent HQ that's in GitHub, you can see the agent starting our MCP servers and so forth. And this is going to take a little while. And so I have a PR here of it completed. And this is what Copilot changed. And as you can see, it's going to be similar, if not the same, as what you would have done in the IDE, or what
one more level of zoom on the browser
in the IDE.
Just one Control plus once. No, just bigger.
Make this bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
Right. And when the Coding Agent is going to generate a PR for you, and so you can look at the PR, you can review all of the code that is changed, and in this case, we're doing a Java 25 upgrade in this case that I did earlier. And so this is Coding Agent. This is going to run in the background. I might come back to it if it gets finished, and I'll show you kind of what the completion is. But here's a PR that it finished a couple days ago for me. So that's Coding Agent, and that's Java upgrade. So next, what I want to show you is I want to show you migration, right? Like sometimes when we move our apps to Azure, we also have to upgrade our dependencies. We've partnered, in this demo, what I want to show you is Oracle database to PostgreSQL migration. We've partnered with our friends over on the data team on Azure, and there's a whole solution for you. They have an extension that will help you migrate the database components and data, and then they've contributed to our extension, which allows you to actually modernize and change your application code to change the Oracle libraries into PostgreSQL libraries. And so let me show you how that works. And to do that, I want to show you IntelliJ. And so this is IntelliJ. This is the Java version of the application now. And one of the things that Modernization does is that it helps you understand your application by doing an assessment. Scott alluded to that earlier. And here's the assessment of that application. It takes a while to run, and so I'm just showing you the report that it generated. And here you can see that it's detected a few things. And for some of the things that we don't have a predefined task for. And what I mean by that is that we've created several tasks that have been tested and benchmarked to help you have a good starting spot for migration. So if we do not have one of these tasks, you can ask Copilot for help. But when we have a task, you can actually go ahead and run it. So I'm going to go ahead and run this Oracle migration to PostgreSQL.
I think the point I want to call out here is he's using IntelliJ, which is the point I made earlier, which is our tools aren't tied just to Visual Studio or VS Code. We want to meet developers and companies where they are. And so we're going to be in all the right IDEs to do all these things.
OK. And while IntelliJ wakes up from sleep, maybe, this is supposed to open the GitHub Copilot chat window. And what a task is effectively a task is a combination of prompts, specifications, samples, as well as some tools that instruct GitHub Copilot to do the thing that you want to do. In this case, change the dependencies from Oracle to PostgreSQL. And so it packages all of these things for you. And that's the same package that you saw in the GitHub Copilot coding agent that was delivered in the cloud so that you can run the same tasks on the cloud. And so this is going to run. It's going to do the same thing that you saw in the .NET case. It's going to go and analyze the application. It's going to create a plan. It's going to let you look at the plan. And then it's going to run the plan. And as usual, these things are going to take a little while. So what I've done is I've also prepared a version of, or I ran this earlier, and I'll show you what the final results are. And so here, when a task finishes, it's going to show you a summary of all the things that it's done. So this is kind of like a report back to you. So you can validate and make sure that the agent did what you wanted it to do. And I'm going to just open one of these files so you can see. I don't know what happened there. I'm going to open one of these files so that you can see. I just want to open the file. Yes, okay. And so you can see some of the changes that it's made, right? So in this case, it's actually gone with the help of our friends from the database team. It's actually gone and looked at the embedded SQL statement, and it's converted it from Oracle to Postgres. And so those are some of the changes that you can see it happening. You can review all of these changes, and then you can kind of commit it to the branch and create a PR and kind of move along with the modernization. So this is how we help you modernize your application to move your dependencies from on-premise to Azure. And we have a whole list of dependencies that we help you modernize from, including queuing technologies, database technologies, file and storage, and so forth. All right. So that's modernization and migration to Azure. Now what I want to show you is you've got your application modernized, and now you want to run it on Azure. And so we're going to help you, as Scott mentioned, we're going to help you Dockerize your application, containerize it, and then run it on Azure. So let me show you how that will work. And for this one, I'm going to show it to you in Visual Studio Code. And so here I have Visual Studio Code. And inside Visual Studio Code and in all of our IDEs, you're going to have an experience where you can actually look to see all the tasks that we have provided for you. And so I'm going to go and try to bring this higher. And so you can see here, as I mentioned earlier, we just have a lot of different tasks that have been benchmarked and tested for you. We have one here called Containerize My Application. And when you run this task, we're going to scan your application. We're going to generate a Docker file or a container file, depending on what you want, as well as an image. And then you can run your application locally. So here, what I've done is I've done this, again, ahead of time because it takes a little while to run the Dockerization process. But what it just does is it does what you would expect. It goes and scans your application. It looks at all the files that you might have. And then it goes and creates I think in this case, I decided to create a Docker file as well as a container image. And then it runs it on Docker for you. And then you can run it locally here on localhost. And so I have that application running right here. So this is the one running on localhost 8080. And this is the same application, right? Nothing's changed. It's the same application running on Docker. In this case, this is, I'm running this with the Postgres offline database. So it has a Postgres image, and it's running all of that inside Docker. And so that's, okay.
So we've quickly showed you how you can take a .NET application, upgrade it. We've shown how you can take a Java application, upgrade it. We've shown how you can actually modify upgrade your database.
Yep.
And then finally, how you can Dockerize an application. And these are all done with the tasks that are built in here.
That's right. And now you can run this application locally, but you can also run it on Azure. And so let's go ahead and let's do that. And so to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a prompt that we have. And so I'm going to run this first, because it might take a little while. But I'm going to show you what this does. And so I've actually used VS Code's feature to store my prompt so that I don't have to type it. And here's what I told Copilot to do. I told it to deploy this application, and I've created all of my Azure resources already, because that's typically how our team works, right? Like somebody has created the Azure resources, and then we're going to go and deploy to it. That might be how your enterprise works. If your enterprise doesn't work that way, @Modernization also helps you create Azure resources, either using the Azure MCP, so you can create that directly. But @Modernization can also help you generate bicep files. If that's the way your company works, you might want to generate a bicep file and hand it off to somebody to create your Azure resources. In this demo, somebody on my team has already created the Azure resources, and I'm deploying it to the subscription. In this case, I'm actually running on a ARM64 PC, and our AKS and AC, I'll show you both of them, are running AMD64. So I just told Copilot that, by the way, I'm on an ARM64 machine. The AKS cluster knows or not. And then this is the part where our tools come in. It says to use the @mod get plan tool to help me plan and deploy this application. So it's going to go ahead and do this. Let's see where it gets to. And while we wait for that, I can show you the application deployed. Here, I have it deployed on an AKS cluster using, again, the Azure MCPs. And then here, I have it deployed, the same application, on an ACA compute environment. And so that's how you take the application from kind of not running on the cloud. You can Dockerize it with our tools, and then you can deploy it to your favorite Azure compute instance.
Okay. Let's jump back to slides, sir.
All right. So some of these are going to take a little while to run. So I'm going to go ahead and show you something new that we have been working on as well. So to do that, I'm going to go back to the slides. Do you want to switch to the next slide?
Yeah, we're on.
All right. So the demo that I showed you, everything was running in the IDE or in Coding Agent. And it's kind of like task by task, right? Like, so what I did was I said, oh, what do I need to do? I ran this task. I showed you the Oracle to Postgres migration task. I went ahead and did it. One of the things that we are working on is we're working on an agent. And today we've actually are going to do a private preview release. There's going to be a link to sign up for it later. But we're working on an agent that's going to help you move one level higher. And so what this agent is going to do, it's going to run in the CLI for now. And it's configured with all the MCPs that I already showed you earlier today. And what it's going to do is it's going to help you kind of create a high-level modernization plan. That's not just task by task, but also just kind of allows you to customize at a higher level. It also has the integration with the S8 tools, as Scott mentioned, with Azure Migrate, with Dr. Migrate, and with Cast. Here in the highlighted red, what I've told our agent to do is to do an assessment. And I've given it a GitHub issue. And that is enough to tell the agent that I want the agent to update the assessment results into GitHub so that our S8 tools can read it. And that's where the planning comes in. And so all the folks who are using the S8 tools can get a view of the assessment and decide whether or not we should modernize this application or not. And so on the next slide, here it's the result of the assessment result updated into the GitHub issue. And this is where you can go ahead and read the issue. So let's assume that we've decided to modernize this application. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell the agent to create a modernization plan. This is different from like a coding agent plan. The coding agent plan did things like tell the agent how to change your code, right? Like what dependencies to change, or what code to change, or what patterns you want the code to change. The modernization plan tells the agent what things you want to do and in what order. Do you want to migrate SQL first? Do you want to migrate your queues? Or do you want to set up security first? And so this is a higher level plan that's kind of across the multiple task level. In this case, I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to tell it to just do one task, right? Just focus only on migrating from RabbitMQ to Azure Service Bus. The agent remembered that you configured it with a GitHub issue, and it will read context from GitHub issue. And so if there were any instructions on the GitHub issue that are relevant for the agent, it will go ahead and read that information as well. And so here is the task, the plan that it created. Because we told it to focus on one task, it came back and said, there's only one task in this plan. You can imagine that if we told it to do 2 or 3 or 4 tasks, it would come back with a plan that has 2 or 3 or 4 tasks ordered in a way that will make the modernization successful. Again, this task is actually saved to file, so you can review it and change it if you want. We also update the plan to GitHub so that our S8 tools can have access to the plan. You can review it at that level, or you can review it at the Markdown file level. And so I'm going to run the plan next, and then it's going to go ahead and use the new features that we have, next slide, which is the custom agent support in the CLI. And so we actually added a custom agent that's going to be focused on migration and code changes. And so now it's going to go and run those tasks using our new custom agent. And then when the task is finished, it's going to go ahead and give you the same summary file that I showed you in the IDE, but it's going to go ahead and generate that file for you and update it in the GitHub issue.
So I think of this kind of as, in the IDE, if I'm a developer, I got to do all that stuff in this way, but if I really want to do a bunch of tasks, it's a lot of work sitting there, pressing and continuing and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
This lets me go a little bit faster.
That's right.
But I'm still in control. I still get to monitor all the stuff that are here.
That's right.
I'm going to go through customer stories super fast. This tech reduced net views, bird fee efforts by 67%. This is a Chinese telco. They did a bunch of database modernization. They were able to save a ton of time. Xbox was able to move from a version of .NET to a newer version of .NET very, very quickly using this exact same tech. With that, I want to bring up Kalpesh from Capgemini.
All right. Thank you. All right. I'm sure you all are super excited after seeing all the cool features of GitHub Copilot. What I would, let me just see. Perfect. Right? So I think I'll just talk about the case study. I will explain how we have leveraged the features which you saw. Some of the features are definitely new, but we got early preview, and we have leveraged that, and we have started implementing that at our customer location. What I would also give you a sneak preview of the additional things which is required beyond the technical features which you just saw, right? But first of all, GitHub Copilot as well as the Azure OpenAI, the combination of both has really changed the game for app modernization. It has really helped us expedite the overall modernization journey by 2 times. And it has really saved the overall time to market as well as the cost to implement by almost 30%. And while I will talk about one case study, we have successfully implemented in last 1.5 years, almost 15 plus implementations. So I'm very proud of all our partnership with GitHub and Azure, because we have been able to crank through a lot of engineering challenges together and help our customer move faster, right? So let me talk about something very important that you have heard all the features, right? But I think when you go and talk to business, what are the key things which they have been very uncomfortable about for this modernization, right? There are 2-3 important, these 5 important points, right? Business is very uncomfortable doing the modernization, or has been uncomfortable doing the modernization, because they don't want to risk. They are uncomfortable understanding that probably, I don't want to touch, it's working, and the people, the SME knowledge doesn't exist, or the people who were, they are no longer with the organization. So that's very important to solve. I mean, we can say, hey, I have a cool toy and I can help you move faster, and we can show you all the demos, but we need to make sure that, business is comfortable. So that's very, very important. Business is also uncomfortable on the timeline. Sometimes you may hear, oh, it may take 2 years or 3 years. They may also be uncomfortable on the cost involved, because the cost to run need to be less than the cost to migrate, right? So it's also important that we need to make sure that the business is comfortable about the technology and the what it would achieve from the functionality perspective, right? So for example, I think you saw all the features from the technology side, but from the functional side, business want to get a confirmation that how it was working before functionally, it needs to work in the same way or a better way, when it is migrated. So think about all those challenges. So we at Capgemini, we thought through. We went to our drawing board, and we just thought, okay, we will augment what Azure, OpenAI, and GitHub Copilot provides, and then we created a series of agents across software delivery lifecycle with on our Capgemini platform called as Orchestrate AI. With the Capgemini's Orchestrate AI platform, we have created one layer of series of agents on top of all the features which you just said, right? But those agents are doing something more beyond catering to all the challenges which we talked about, right? So we have a series of agents which does reverse engineering, and we have a series of agents which does the forward engineering. So why reverse engineering is important? So remember, we want to give comfort to business that, hey, I want to understand all the documentation of all the old application. I want to understand the functionality of all the old application. In fact, we have also created requirement specification from the old application. We have created test cases for the old application. Why? Because when I'm migrating, I just want to make sure that all the pieces which was working functionally is all working in the new world as well. So most of the time when we talk about modernization, people only talk about forward engineering. But reverse engineering is very, very important. Reverse engineering is where you can give comfort to business. When you show them that, don't worry, we know SME doesn't exist, but we will take care of understanding, we will take care of functionality, and we will give you the tangible output from the test scenarios or test cases of old run, and we will compare it with the new run, something like that, right? So that's why reverse engineering is very important. You also heard earlier from like CAST or Dr. Migrate, something like app portfolio rationalization is very, very important as well. So once you sort all those things out, then on the forward engineering side, one thing which there are certain things which you did not hear, which is you need to do a requirement gathering, right? If you're doing a migration. So I will give you an example of .NET to Java migration, not upgrade, but .NET to Java migration, right? That was the ask from customer. But I think it is very important that when I'm moving that migration, the functionality wise, it is very, very important that I am creating, when I'm creating a modern Java application, I am creating a domain aware distributed modern Java agent. So for that, I need to make sure that I'm creating all the requirement specification, I'm creating all the BDD scripts. For all those things, we have an agent called a @SmartBA. Then I have a series of agents for creating API specification. It's very, very important. And the case study which I will talk about is for the banking industry. So we created as API specifications through our agent, Smart API Specialist, which helps in creating API which is Open API aligned. It is also a buy-in standard aligned, so that when I'm generating those APIs, when I'm creating those modern microservice architecture, it's aligned to the way it should serve the business customer. So like that, I also have a smart architect agent covering various different architecture diagrams, all diagrams. It doesn't matter whether class diagram, sequence diagram, component diagram. Most of the time, we know as an architect technologist, we know that architecture diagram creation is important, but most of the time we don't create, or it gets stale by the time you go to production, right? So with this, now if you have agent, you don't need to worry about it. You can create those diagrams, and you create those diagrams not for the sake of creating, but for communication, right? So that you make sure that these diagrams are kind of working fine. Then it's very important that we create a pipeline for the DevOps. So we have an agent for that, and we have an agent for taking care of the security test, functional test, performance test, and so on and so forth. So as you think that from the software delivery lifecycle, it is very, very important that you take care of each and every stage of software delivery lifecycle. And if we have agents for that, that's what we have built from Capgemini's Orchestrate AI platform. So Capgemini's Orchestrate AI platform covering Smart SDLC covers all 9 yards going into production, right? So with that, this is a case study which I was talking about. We have, this has been an awesome, successful story. It is just one story out of 15 plus implementation we have done. So we have been able to achieve 55% efficiency. We have been able to reduce 37% cost. It is substantial because the overall cost was around $3 to $5 million. So you can imagine, I'm just saying this big range because there were various components to the overall cost, but business is super happy. Business is all the challenges which we talked about. We have been able to reduce the time. We have been able to give the confidence. We have been able to reduce the cost, and we have been able to give the confidence, and we have been able to improve performance as well. So as you see, across modernization journey, both reverse engineering and forward engineering, Capgemini has created an Orchestrate AI platform. I'm very proud of all the team members, but very importantly, keeping business in mind and augmenting what GitHub Copilot as well as Azure OpenAI provides. So I hope this is helpful to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I want to quickly close just a couple of next steps. If you want docs on the stuff we showed today, here's how to do that. If you see the features, take a screenshot of this. This is how you can use all the stuff and learn more about all the stuff we showed today on the stage. And then here's another slide. If you're curious about the private preview for that agent that we said, there's a barcode here to sign up for that. And you can see all the stuff that we shipped. And then here's a bunch of related sessions that go deeper dives on all this tech as well. over the next couple of days, including at 1 o'clock today on App Service MI. And then finally, I will just leave with, please let us know what we did. Thank you folks so much. Have a great Ignite.